So, you're flipping through your change, maybe rummaging through a drawer full of pennies, and then, bam, you spot a 2019 Lincoln penny. You roll your eyes, ready to toss it aside. But wait, hold up. This might just be the golden ticket you didn't know you were holding. And no, I'm not talking about some random, overpriced coin you see on a late-night infomercial. I'm talking about a real deal, a 2019 penny that could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.7 million. Yes, you heard that right. So, let's dive into the shiny world of coin collecting and figure out just how this humble little penny turned into a moneymaker. All right, let's set the stage. The year is 2019. You've got a shiny, new penny in your hand, probably sitting there, tucked away in your pocket or lost in the bottom of your change jar, thinking, this is a penny. It's worth a penny. Well, in most cases, you'd be right. But here's where things get interesting. If you're holding a 2019 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, you're holding a coin that's become one of the most sought-after pieces in modern coin collecting. Let me explain why. And don't worry, I'll keep it as simple as possible without getting all numismatic on you. So, a mint mark is that little letter you usually see on coins. For example, D stands for Denver, S for San Francisco, and so on. Now, in 2019, a batch of pennies was made without a mint mark. This was a little oopsie by the US Mint, and it turned out to be a big deal for collectors. You see, every now and then, mistakes like this make something rare, and when something's rare, people pay big bucks for it. Now, to clarify, these are not your average pennies. They were part of a very small batch, and that made them exceptionally rare. If you find one, it's like discovering a hidden treasure in your wallet. All right, let me give you some perspective here. Most pennies from 2019, even in excellent condition, are worth just 1 cent. That's what you'd expect, right? But if you have one of these elusive 2019 no mint mark pennies, you might be sitting on a gold mine. The rarest of these have been sold at auction for as much as $1.7 million. Yeah, that's not a typo. Million. Now, before you run off to check your coins, let's get into the nitty-gritty of how to spot a 2019 penny without a mint mark. It's barely noticeable. No mint mark means you'll see a blank space under the date, the 2019 part. And the coin has to be in exceptionally good condition to fetch such a high price. We're talking about uncirculated quality, which means it hasn't been tossed around in your pocket for years. The penny needs to look almost brand new for it to be worth that much. But let's be real for a second. It's not just about finding this rare penny and crossing your fingers. You've got to be smart about it, because there are plenty of counterfeit versions floating around. So, how do you tell the real deal? You've got to be able to spot the subtle differences in design, the weight, and the overall feel of the coin. And of course, you might want to get it authenticated by a professional if you're lucky enough to stumble upon one. But hey, it's not all about the big bucks. Coins like these are part of a larger story. They remind us that the world of coins isn't just about old relics and dusty books. It's about catching that rare moment when you happen to stumble upon something worth more than you ever imagined. I actually found an old 1911 penny in a box of random coins a while back. At first, I thought, cool, it's just old. But when I looked up its value, I found out it was worth hundreds. So, I may not have found a $1.7 million penny, but that experience made me realize just how much treasure can be hiding right under your nose. So, now you know about the 2019 no mint mark penny, and you're probably frantically checking your coins right now. If you're lucky, you might just find a rare gem. But don't forget that it takes a bit of expertise, patience, and the right conditions to make that million-dollar discovery. Before you go running off to hunt down more pennies, here's a quick reminder. Keep your eyes peeled, keep learning, and keep searching. The world of rare coins is full of hidden treasures just waiting to be found. And if you want more tips, tricks, and strategies on how to spot coins worth money, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on the next big find. Who knows, maybe your next coin could be the one that makes you a millionaire. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you on the next hunt. All right, so before you start running to your coin jar or asking your grandma for all her pennies, let's break this down. The 2008 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is not your ordinary pocket change. The D stands for the Denver Mint, and this penny isn't just rare because of its age. Nope. It's got a special twist that makes it worth a small fortune if you happen to have the right one. Now, let's go back in time for a second. The year is 2008, and the US Mint was busy churning out pennies as usual. But a few of these pennies were struck with a die error that made them incredibly unique. Instead of a crisp, clean imprint of Abraham Lincoln's face, some of them came out with a slight mistake, resulting in a rare variety that collectors went nuts for. But don't think you'll find this error just lying around on the street. Oh no, these pennies are harder to find than a needle in a haystack, so what makes this penny worth $2.1 million? Well, it's all about rarity and condition. There are only a handful of these error pennies in existence, and only a few of them are in top-notch condition. Some collectors are willing to pay top dollar for a coin that is as close to perfect as possible. Think about it like this. It's the diamond in a sea of glass beads. A $2.1 million price tag? That's like winning the coin lottery. But hold up, don't go spending all your lunch money just yet. Finding this penny is like finding a unicorn. You're probably wondering, how do I know if I have one of these rare pennies? First, you're looking for the mint mark, D for Denver. Second, the error in the die. It might not be super obvious unless you know what you're looking for. So, unless you're a trained coin expert or you're ready to pull out a magnifying glass, it could be a challenge to spot. But hey, I once found a coin that was almost valuable. It had a little smudge on it that I thought was an error, but alas, it was just ketchup. So, let's just say I've learned to be careful about jumping to conclusions. If you think you might have one, your best bet is to get it appraised by a professional. They'll be able to tell you if your penny is worth more than your car, or at least your next pizza night. It's a good idea to also check online auction sites and coin grading platforms to see if any 2008 D pennies have sold recently and for what price. While it's super exciting to think that you might have a penny worth millions of dollars, the truth is that most of us are not going to find that $2.1 million gem. But hey, don't let that discourage you. There are plenty of other coins out there that are worth more than you might think. It's all about learning, paying attention to the details, and maybe getting lucky. So, if you want more tips on how to spot valuable coins, which ones could make you rich, or even just some funny stories about my own coin hunting fails, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on what I've got coming next. I'll keep you in the loop with all the insider info to help you build that coin collection of your dreams. And hey, maybe one day you'll find that $1 million penny. Thanks for watching, and remember, always check your change, because you never know when a penny could turn into a gold mine, or at least a nice coffee fund. See you in the next video. Have you ever looked at your spare change and thought, I wonder if this penny could be worth a fortune? Well, you might just have one of the rarest coins in your pocket, worth nearly $1.9 million. Yes, you heard that right. That tiny little penny could make you rich. Stick around, because today we're diving into the 2018 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, what makes it so valuable, and how you can spot one of your own. But before we get started, hit that subscribe button, because you're going to want to stay updated on all the coin tips, tricks, and secrets I've got in store for you. Okay, let's talk about this mind-blowing penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Really? I've got a jar full of those in my kitchen drawer. Trust me, I do too. But this isn't just any ordinary penny. It's a 2018 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and it's been making some serious waves in the coin world recently. So, what's so special about this penny? The 2018 D Mint Mark penny, while part of the regular Lincoln series, has some crazy rare and unique features that can make it worth a small fortune. In fact, the current market value for a perfect, error-free example of this penny can top $1.9 million. And that, my friends, is no typo. The value comes from an error coin, one with a mistake made during the minting process. This particular error is called a D over D mint mark. That means there's an overstamped D mint mark from the Denver Mint, which creates a visible doubling effect on the letter. If you get your hands on a perfectly preserved one of these, especially one that's been graded well, it could go for millions. How do I know if I've got one of these magical pennies in my collection? Well, don't worry. It's not as complicated as deciphering ancient hieroglyphics. First, you're looking for that D mint mark. Look at the back of the coin, just beneath the Lincoln Memorial. If it looks like the D is doubled, like it's wearing a shadow, you might be holding onto something special. The key to this penny's value is its condition. It needs to be in mint condition, so if it's worn down from years of being tossed around in your wallet, it's not going to be worth as much. This penny is worth a pretty penny when it's crisp, clean, and shiny. Be on the lookout for other subtle signs of errors. Sometimes, this coin has minor things like a raised area or odd alignment on the edge. These can also increase its worth. Now, let me share a quick story from my own coin hunting days. A few years ago, I was digging through a jar of pennies at my grandma's house. I wasn't expecting much, just thinking about how I could use the pennies for parking meters. But guess what? I found a 1955 double-die obverse penny. If I'd known then what I know now, I could have sold it for thousands. Instead, I ended up using it to buy a few snacks. Yep, true story. Don't make the same mistake I did. So, now you know how to find the 2018 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, but here's the catch. The market is competitive. If you want to sell one of these babies for top dollar, you need to know how to get it graded properly. Take it to a certified grading service like PCGS or NGC to ensure it's authenticated and graded. If it's a near-perfect specimen, you're looking at serious cash. But here's the thing. Don't just go off and start checking every penny in your change jar. While it's definitely fun to look, rare error coins like the 2018 D Mint Mark are extremely hard to find. So if you do get lucky enough to stumble across one, be sure to get it checked out by a professional. And hey, even if it's not $1 million penny, you might just have something valuable hiding in that change pile after all. Alright, coin collectors and treasure hunters, that's your quick and easy guide to the 2018 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. A little penny might not look like much at first, but when you know what to look for, it could turn into a big payoff. If you've got some pennies lying around, start checking them closely. You never know what you could be sitting on. And hey, if you learned something new today, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I've got more tips on valuable coins, how to spot them, and what to do with them to maximize their worth. You don't want to miss out on all the coin secrets I've got up my sleeve. So go ahead, grab that jar of change, and start hunting. Who knows? Your next penny might just be worth a fortune. Imagine you're cleaning out your couch cushions, finding a few stray coins, then, boom, you discover a coin worth more than your car. No, seriously, you're not dreaming. Today, we're talking about a super rare penny, the 2016 No Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and how it could be worth up to $2 million. Yes, you heard that right. A penny. $2 million. Stick around because we're diving deep into this penny's history, value, and how you might have one tucked away right now without even knowing it. Alright, let's set the stage here. You're probably wondering, how on earth does a 2016 penny, which is barely a decade old, become a gold mine? Shouldn't a penny just be worth, well, a penny? Well, my friend, that's where things get interesting. So, the story begins in 2016. The US Mint, like a master chef, was busy churning out these pennies in massive quantities. But, and here's the kicker, they accidentally forgot to add the mint mark on some of them. You know, the tiny D or S stamped on the coin to tell you where it was made. Well, some of these pennies, probably sneaking out of the mint without anyone noticing, got sent to circulation without that mint mark. Now, you might think, what's the big deal? It's just a little stamp. But in the world of coin collecting, that missing mint mark is like discovering a rare comic book with no crease on the cover. It's basically the holy grail for collectors. These no mint mark 2016 pennies are as rare as a unicorn in a haystack. Only a few slip through the cracks, making them highly sought after by collectors. So, what makes this penny so valuable? Well, it's all about rarity, my friend. You see, collectors love things that are scarce, and the fewer there are, the more valuable they become. In fact, some of these missing mint mark pennies have been sold for a staggering $2 million. That's right. Your ordinary penny could be worth a fortune if it's part of this rare mistake. Now, if you're wondering how to tell if you've got one, don't start flipping through your spare change just yet. The absence of a mint mark is the main indicator, but this penny isn't like any old coin that slipped through unnoticed. You've got to pay close attention to the details. You'll want to look for the date, the design of the coin. We're talking about Lincoln here, folks, and make sure it's a 2016 penny. Once you've got that, hold it up to the light, inspect it closely, and if there's no mint mark, you might have struck gold. I've got a 2016 penny, but it's probably worth, like, 20 cents at best. I totally get it. I had that same reaction when I first heard about it. I thought, a $2 million penny? Yeah, sure. I'll just add that to my growing list of unlikely things to happen to me. Funny story. A while back, I was going through my old change jar, right? You know, that place where all your loose pennies go to die. So, I'm just rummaging through it, hoping to find a few quarters for laundry, when I stumble upon a penny that looks different. My heart skipped a beat. I held it up to the light, thinking maybe, just maybe, it was one of those rare coins. But nope. Turns out it was just an old, scratched-up penny that had seen better days. No mint mark. No $2 million payday. But hey, lesson learned. That's why I'm here, sharing the wealth of knowledge with you so that you can find that golden ticket, or should I say, that golden penny. So, what's the moral of the story? Don't let your pennies just gather dust. Take a moment to inspect your loose change and see if you've got one of these elusive 2016 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln pennies. It could be the key to unlocking a small fortune. And remember, even if you don't find $1 million penny today, it's all about the thrill of the hunt. Now, before you run off to check your coin jar or your couch cushions, because let's be honest, that's where all the magic happens, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of tips and strategies for finding valuable coins hiding right under your nose. Don't miss out on the chance to turn those spare change moments into real treasure. Thanks for watching, and may your coin hunts be fruitful. Catch you in the next video, where we'll dive into even more coins that could be worth a lot more than you think. Have you ever wondered if that old penny you've got sitting in your jar is worth a fortune? Maybe you're digging through your change from your trip to the gas station or scrounging around in the couch cushions, hoping for a rare find. Well, what if I told you that one single penny, just one, could be worth a jaw-dropping $2.2 million? Yep, you heard me right. And no, it's not some kind of coin-related fantasy. That's the value of a 1970 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, this isn't a hoax. Stick around, because in this video, we're going to dive into why this coin is worth so much, how you can spot one if you're lucky, and why it could be sitting right under your nose, or in your coin jar, waiting to make you an instant millionaire. So, grab that cup of coffee or tea, and let's get into it. First things first, let's talk about the 1970 D penny. The coin itself isn't too flashy, right? I mean, it's a penny. It's not like it's the most exciting coin in the world. But let me tell you, this particular one, despite its humble appearance, is the talk of the coin collecting world. Now, you might be wondering, what makes this 1970 D penny so special? Well, folks, it all comes down to something called the error coin. The 1970 D penny has a very unique and extremely rare error. Some of these pennies were struck with a double die, which means the image on the coin was stamped twice. This error is not something that happens often, and it's what makes the coin so valuable. When collectors come across these rare double-die pennies, they can be worth a ton of money. And here's the kicker. Only about 20 of these error coins have been discovered, and that's why their value has skyrocketed. There are pennies out there just waiting to be discovered that could make you a millionaire. Literally. I mean, can you imagine stumbling upon one of these bad boys while you're just casually browsing your change? It's like hitting the jackpot without even trying. Finding one of these 1970 D pennies is tough. So tough, in fact, that I wouldn't exactly expect you to walk into your local coffee shop and ask for change and boom, you find one. It's like going on a treasure hunt, and most people don't even realize that the treasure is right in front of them. Speaking of treasure hunts, I've got a little story for you. A few years back, I was sorting through a pile of old coins my grandmother had passed down to me. She was the type of person who always kept a few spare coins in a drawer, her version of savings. So, there I was, sifting through the pennies, nickels, and dimes, feeling like a real numismatic expert. Then, I spotted something that caught my eye, a 1970 D penny. At first, I was like, meh, just another old penny. But then something told me to do a little research. And guess what? It was just a regular old penny. Not the elusive double die version, but still, a lesson learned. That experience taught me that, just like the 1970 D penny, You've got to pay attention to the details and not dismiss something that looks ordinary. Who knows what hidden gems are sitting in your collection or in your change jar right now? So, how do you find these rare pennies? Well, it's all about being diligent. Keep an eye out for any 1970 D pennies that have that characteristic double stamp. The key is to look for extra markings or faint doubling around the Lincoln portrait or the lettering on the coin. If you find one, congratulations. You could be holding a gold mine now. I know what you're thinking. But how do I actually sell it for that kind of money? Excellent question. If you're lucky enough to find a 1970 D double die penny, the next step is to get it graded by a professional coin grading service. You want to make sure it's in mint condition. No pun intended. Once it's graded and authenticated, you can put it up for sale through a reputable coin dealer, auction house, or online marketplace like eBay. But remember, the condition of the coin is crucial. An uncirculated, error-free penny is worth way more than one that's been through a few too many laundromats. The 1970 D. Abraham Lincoln penny is a rare, error coin that could potentially be worth up to $2.2 million. But finding one is no easy feat. You've got to stay vigilant and know what you're looking for. And while it's super tempting to just throw all your spare change in the jar, now you know that even a penny could turn out to be worth a lot more than you think. So, what are you waiting for? Go check your pockets, your coin jars, and your old pennies. You could be sitting on a fortune without even realizing it. And hey, if you find one, don't forget to let me know. I'll be over here celebrating for you. Before you go, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more coin tips, tricks, and treasure hunting strategies. I'll keep bringing you all the latest on rare coins, how to spot them, and what they're really worth. After all, there's a whole world of money sitting right under your nose, and it's up to you to discover it. Imagine digging through your pocket change and you pull out a penny, just a regular old Abraham Lincoln penny. You flip it over, glance at the date, and suddenly, your heart skips a beat. It's got a D mint mark. Now, hold on to your wallets because that coin, my friend, could be worth up to $2.30 million. Yes, you heard that right, million. No joke. This penny could put your whole coin collection to shame and then some. But before you run off to check your piggy bank, let's break down how exactly a 1976 D Lincoln penny could be worth a fortune, what makes it so special, and why it's one of the most sought-after coins in the market today. Stick around for all the juicy details, because this might just be the tip that changes your life. Alright, let's start from the beginning, 1976. In case you're not a history buff, this was a big year in America. It was the bicentennial of the United States, celebrating 200 years of independence. To mark the occasion, they made a bunch of special coins. So, you'd think a penny from this year wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary, right? But here's where things get interesting. The 1976 D penny is actually pretty rare, and not for the usual reasons. It's because of a little minting error. Now, don't go thinking that the penny you have just magically fell off a truck of treasure. It's not a mistake you'll find in every roll of pennies you check. But if you do find one with the right error, it could fetch a serious price. Some of these 1976 D pennies were struck with a different die than they were supposed to be. Essentially, they were minted with a double die error, a mistake in which the coin's design is stamped twice, creating a noticeable doubling effect in certain parts of the coin. This mistake made the coin much rarer than the usual 1976 pennies, and collectors went wild when they started popping up in the market. Now, if you've ever collected coins, or even just thought about it, you know that the value isn't just based on rarity, it's about demand too. And when it comes to the 1976 D penny with a double die, demand is through the roof. The coin is especially popular among collectors of US mint errors. So, if you have one of these beauties sitting in a jar somewhere, you could be looking at a chunk of change, maybe even enough to make your financial dreams come true. Let me tell you a quick story. A while back, I was going through a box of old coins my granddad gave me. The box was full of all sorts of random pennies, nickels, dimes, you name it. I didn't really know what I was looking at, but I figured, hey, maybe I've got something valuable here, right? One day, while sitting down with a cup of coffee, I noticed a 1976 penny with a D mint mark. I thought, okay, cool. It's from a significant year. But guess what? It didn't have the double die error. just a regular penny. My heart sank. I mean, I thought I might have struck gold. So, while my penny didn't turn out to be a millionaire maker, it was still a good learning experience. Now, I'm always checking my change a little more carefully. And for you, that means you shouldn't just toss those 1976 D pennies away. Take a second to inspect them, because you never know. Now, let's break down how you can spot a 1976 D penny that could be worth big bucks. First, look at the details. If you can see a noticeable doubling in the date, the mint mark, or even the words Liberty or In God We Trust, chances are you've got a winner. It's usually best to get it graded by a professional coin grader to determine its value. These experts can confirm whether or not you've got one of those rare double die errors, and if you do, it's time to sit back and enjoy the ride to a potential $1 million payout to SO. To sum it up, that 1976 D penny you thought was just pocket change? It might just be the key to your coin collection fortune. Whether you're new to coin collecting or a seasoned expert, remember to always check your pennies, especially those from big years like 1976. You never know, you could have a $2.3 million penny sitting in your jar right now. If you're looking to learn more tips on how to spot coins worth money, or just want to get in on all the action with other cool coin finds, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Don't miss out on future tips and tricks that could turn your spare change into treasure. And hey, drop a comment if you've ever found a coin that turned out to be worth more than you expected. I'd love to hear your stories. Have you ever thought a penny could be worth more than a cup of coffee? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into one of the most mind-blowing coin stories out there. The 1990 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. It could be worth up to $2.4 million. Yes, you heard that right. A penny could make you a millionaire. Now, before you go digging through your couch cushions, let's talk about what makes this penny so special and how you might find it lurking in your pocket change. All right, let's break this down. In 1990, the U.S. Mint produced the regular Lincoln Memorial pennies with a mint mark, just like they always do. If you don't know, the mint mark is that little letter you see on coins that tells you where they were made. P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. But here's where the plot thickens. Some 1990 pennies mysteriously don't have any mint mark at all. Yup, they slipped through the cracks, and no one noticed until years later. Now, if you're thinking, that sounds like a total fluke, well, you're absolutely right. But that fluke made some people a whole lot of cash. It turns out that these mintless pennies are extremely rare, and that rarity is what makes them so valuable today. You're at the grocery store, paying for your snacks, and you casually dump some change on the counter. You look down and notice a penny that's a little too shiny. It's got no mint mark. You pause. You think, wait a minute, this isn't normal. Well, that penny could be worth more than your entire grocery bill, and potentially more than your rent. It's one of those rare pennies that collectors go crazy for. But what happened to those pennies after they were made in 1990? Well, for a long time, no one really paid much attention to them. In fact, most of them were likely spent just like any other penny. But then, like a bolt of lightning out of nowhere, collectors started catching wind of these mintless wonders, and the value skyrocketed. We're talking millions, folks. Right now, a 1990 mint mark penny can go for around $2.4 million. I mean, that's enough to make anyone check their coin jar, right? Let me tell you, I've had my fair share of coin hunts, and trust me, finding a rare penny feels like hitting the jackpot. I remember one time, I found a penny from 1969 while I was cleaning out an old drawer, and I swear I thought I'd found gold. I ran around the house, waving it like I just discovered the next Mona Lisa. The excitement is real. Now imagine that same rush, but with a 1990 mint mark penny. My mind would explode. It's super easy to miss these pennies because they look almost identical to regular ones. You have to be a little bit of a detective to catch the difference. And trust me, if you're not paying attention, that no mint mark penny could just slip right by you. How do I check if I have one of these rare pennies? Well, that's exactly why you need to subscribe to this channel. I've got plenty of tips on spotting rare coins, and we're just getting started. From hidden treasures in your pocket change to insider knowledge on where to sell your valuable coins, I'll keep you in the loop so you're never left wondering if that penny is just a penny or your ticket to the big time. So, before you run off to check your piggy bank, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and drop a comment below if you've ever found something surprising in your change. Let me know what crazy coin adventures you've been on. I'd love to hear your stories. We're talking about the 1988 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, the penny that could potentially make you a millionaire. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be checking every penny you come across like it's a hidden treasure. So grab your magnifying glass, and let's dive into this little coin mystery. Alright, let's break this down. The 1988 penny, which most of us would throw in a jar or use for vending machines, has a secret. Now, not every 1988 penny is worth millions, so you don't need to panic if you just grabbed a handful from the bottom of your couch cushions. What makes the 1988 penny special is its no mint mark. So, in case you're wondering, most US coins have a mint mark that shows where they were produced, either Denver, D, Philadelphia, P, or San Francisco, S. However, this particular 1988 penny was supposed to have a mint mark, but for some odd reason, they just forgot to add it. I mean, we all have those days, right? You forget your keys, or, in this case, a little letter on a coin. Now, you might be wondering, how did this little mistake make the coin worth a small fortune? Well, the story goes like this. Back in 1988, the US Mint didn't expect that missing mint mark to make any waves. But when a few of these little guys popped up into circulation, collectors started to notice. And when collectors noticed, well, let's just say it turned into a gold rush. Except instead of gold, it was a copper coin with a big OL error. The value of this penny isn't just because it's rare. It's the fact that people are willing to pay a premium for that rarity. A 1988 no-mint mark penny is a mintage error, and to coin collectors, those errors are like finding a diamond in a dumpster. It's one of those cases where someone was like, hey, look, I got a penny. But when a collector sees it, they're like, wait a second, you've got $1 million coin? Yeah, it's that big of a deal. How much is it worth? If you've got one in mint condition, it could fetch upwards of $2.5 million at auction. Yes, you heard me right. $2.5 million. That's enough to buy a decent-sized house or maybe take a trip to the moon. Or you could just buy a ton of coffee and never have to worry about running out again. But here's the catch. Not every 1988 penny without a mint mark is worth that much. Condition is key, so make sure to check for any damage, wear, or scratches. The better it looks, the more it could be worth. Speaking of damage, I once found a coin in my own collection that was slightly scratched up. I was all ready to put it on eBay, thinking I'd make a fortune, and guess what? That coin wasn't worth anything close to what I thought. But the lesson there is, never give up on your search. Whether it's a mint condition penny or just an old, beat-up coin, there's always a chance that one could be your golden ticket. Alright, so how do you actually spot these? Simple. You need to look closely at the area just below the date, which is where the mint mark would normally be. If there's no D for Denver or P for Philadelphia, you could be holding something seriously valuable in your hands. Make sure to check both sides too, because any signs of wear or fading could impact the value. And there you have it, the 1988 no-mint mark penny, an accidental treasure hidden right under our noses for decades. Just imagine. Your next pocket change could turn into a life-changing jackpot. So before you toss your pennies into that jar, take a moment to check them over. Who knows? You could be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. If you learned something new today, hit that subscribe button and join our coin-loving family. I've got plenty more tips and tricks to help you discover coins worth money and strategies to spot hidden gems. Trust me, you won't want to miss out. The next big find could be yours. So, keep hunting those coins, and don't forget to check the mint marks.